I wake up drenched in sweat, the taste of fear still fresh in my mouth like I've swallowed something foul, and the dream. It's not fading, it's clinging to me like wet clothes. Suffocating. I stare at the ceiling, the darkness stretching endlessly, and all I can think about is the moment she pulled me toward the edge, that faceless thing. Her touch too real, too cold, like ice searing into my skin. And I swear I can still feel her fingers wrapped around mine. I don't want to move, but my body does it anyway, out of instinct. I glance at my phone. It's been an hour. Only an hour, and the clock ticks so loudly it's unbearable, like each second is mocking me, stretching time, dragging it out just to make sure I know I'm not safe. And the smell. God, that lavender scent. It's still there, it hasn't left, it's faint but unmistakable, and the hairs on the back of my neck rise because something isn't right. It's like I can still feel her in the room with me, lurking, watching, just out of sight, but always there. I try to shake it off, tell myself it's nothing, it's just a dream, just nerves, whatever. I've been on edge all day, so I get up and head downstairs for some water, hoping it'll clear my head, but the second I step into the kitchen, everything feels wrong. It's colder than usual, like someone opened all the windows and let winter in, but the windows are closed. I checked them earlier, and the silence. Jesus, the silence is thick, heavy, it's like the house itself is holding its breath, like it's waiting for something, for me to make a move, and I pour the water, staring into the glass, trying to focus on the way the water ripples instead of the knot tightening in my gut, but then I hear it, this soft creak from upstairs, so faint I almost miss it, but it's there, and my heart skips, thudding against my ribs, and I freeze, just listening, waiting, telling myself it's nothing, just the house settling, but it doesn't feel like that, it feels like someone's up there. I go back to my room, but something's off, the air is thick again, almost suffocating, it's like I'm breathing through a wet blanket, and every corner of the room feels darker, like the shadows have grown and they're crawling closer, and I leave the light on this time, because there's no way I'm trusting the dark, not after that dream, but even with the light on, it doesn't help. The room still feels wrong, and I sit on the edge of my bed, trying to distract myself, scrolling through my phone like an idiot, but my hand is shaking. I can't focus on anything, and every shadow in the room seems to shift in the corner of my eye, just for a second, but enough to make my heart pound, and I can't shake the feeling that something's watching me, that it's right there, just beyond my sight, waiting. Then, without warning, the temperature drops even more, like someone just ripped the heat out of the room. I shiver. My breath catches. I check the windows again, all closed. Nothing's open, but it doesn't matter because the air feels wrong, thick and cold and wrong, like I'm not supposed to be here, like something else is. And then I hear it, this soft knock, not at the door, no, it's from the terrace, this gentle tap that makes my blood freeze in my veins. And I look over at the door, but there's nothing there, just darkness outside, and I tell myself not to go. I tell myself to stay in bed, but of course, I don't listen. I force myself to get up, because I have to know, I have to be sure, and I check the door, it's locked. But as I turn away, something catches my eye, in the reflection of the glass, a glimpse, a flash of her, faceless, staring back at me, and my stomach lurches. I whirl around, but there's nothing there, just my reflection, pale and wide-eyed, and I stumble back into bed, pulling the covers tight around me like a child, hoping that will somehow keep me safe, but it doesn't, because the lavender scent is stronger now, almost suffocating. And I don't want to close my eyes, but I do anyway, because I'm too exhausted to fight it. The second I drift off, I'm back in the dream, only it's not really a dream anymore, it feels too real. The house looks the same, but it's darker, heavier, the walls seem to breathe, and she's there, waiting for me at the end of the hallway, just standing there, faceless, not smiling, not speaking, just watching, and I can't move, I can't scream, I can't do anything, I'm trapped, and she's slowly approaching, each step dragging the air out of my lungs, and when she reaches out this time, her hand isn't just cold, it's burning, like ice that's been set on fire, searing into my skin, and I try to pull away, I try so hard, but I can't, I'm stuck, glued to the floor, and I can't breathe, can't think, and she whispers something I can't understand, and then, suddenly, I'm falling, just falling through the floor, through the house, into the darkness below, the cold air rushing past me, and it feels like I'm falling forever, and when I finally wake up, gasping for air, I'm back in my bed, the sun streaming through the window, everything looking so painfully normal. But I know it wasn't just a dream, I can still feel her touch, still smell that damn lavender, and the worst part is, I don't think it's over. The morning light streams through the window, but it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel like morning, The world outside looks the same, but something is off. The dream clings to me. It's under my skin now. I can still feel her, still smell that goddamn lavender. It won't leave, it's stuck to me, and no matter what I do, the dread in my gut doesn't fade. So I grab my phone, desperate for some normalcy. I text my mom to ask about my uncle. Maybe some real-life problems will ground me. But even the act of typing feels weird. Like my fingers don't belong to me. And when she texts back, it's just some vague update. Nothing that makes me feel better. Nothing that pulls me out of this fog. I head downstairs, planning to make breakfast, trying to force myself into a routine, thinking if I just do something normal, the weight pressing on me will lift, but the kitchen is too quiet, dead quiet, the kind of silence that buzzes in your ears. No birds, no hum from the fridge, nothing, just a stillness that feels wrong, like the house is holding its breath, waiting for something. And as I sit at the table, the chair creaks under me, too loud, the sound making me flinch, and I swear I can feel the house watching me, its eyes in every corner, every crack in the walls, waiting. I can't shake the feeling that I'm not alone, even though I know I'm the only one here. The day drags on, each minute stretching longer than the last, every little sound too loud, too sharp. I try to focus on normal things, chores, Netflix, anything to distract myself, but my mind keeps slipping back to the dream, to her, to that faceless thing that keeps creeping into my thoughts, pulling me back to that place where the house felt alive, and it's like no matter how hard I try to push it away, it's pulling me in, dragging me down, and I can't escape it. I step outside, thinking some fresh air might help, but the second I open the front door, the world feels distant, too still, the street empty, like I'm looking at a photo of my life instead of living it, everything too quiet, too still. The wind doesn't even move the trees, and I stand there for a minute, just staring, feeling like something's wrong, like I'm missing something important, but I don't know what. I call my best friend, hoping to talk about anything else. Maybe she'll pull me out of this weird headspace, but the second she picks up, the connection is bad, her voice crackling, cutting in and out, and when she says, "You okay?" It sounds muffled, distant, like she's speaking from underwater, and I try to tell her about the dream, about the girl, but I can't find the words, they get stuck in my throat, and all I can say is that I didn't sleep well. She pauses, and when she says, "You sound off," I can hear the concern in her voice, and for a second, I want to spill everything, tell her I'm losing it, that something's wrong with me, but the words don't come, so we hang up, and I feel worse than before. The walls of the house feel like they're closing in on me, every little sound amplified, the ticking clock in the hallway pounding in my ears, the creak of the floorboards under my feet too loud, and it's too much, it's all too much, so I decide to take a nap, hoping that if I sleep, really sleep this time, things will reset, I'll wake up and feel normal again, but the second I close my eyes, I'm back in the dream. Back in the house that isn't my house, darker now, colder, I can see my breath fogging in front of me, and she's there again, waiting, always waiting. But this time, she's not alone. Shadows shift at the edges of my vision, moving, whispering things I can't make out, and I try to turn, to run, to do anything, but my body won't respond. I'm trapped, frozen, and she beckons me forward, her hand raised like she's inviting me into some dark secret, and despite every instinct screaming at me to stop, to fight, I follow her. We move through the house, but it doesn't make sense. The rooms twist and change with every step, doors leading to places they shouldn't, hallways stretching on forever, and I feel the house pressing down on me, like it's alive, like it knows I don't belong here. She leads me to the attic, a place I haven't been in years, and the air is thick with dust, choking me as I climb the creaking stairs, each step making me feel heavier, like the house itself is trying to stop me, and when we reach the top, there's a mirror in the corner, cracked and covered in grime, but when I look into it, I don't see myself. I see her, standing behind me, her faceless reflection staring back at me, and she whispers something again, but this time I understand. "You can't leave," she says, her voice hollow, distant, like it's coming from deep inside the walls. "You're mine now." Panic surges through me. I bolt for the door, but the attic stretches impossibly long, the walls pulling away from me. My legs feel heavy, like I'm running through water, and no matter how hard I push, the door stays out of reach, and I wake up gasping, back in my room, but something's wrong. The door to the attic is open, just a crack, and I know I didn't go up there. I know I didn't, at least I don't think I did. I close the door, locking it tight, but I can't shake the feeling that something is still up there, waiting for me to come back, and the house feels different now. I try to distract myself, cleaning, organizing, anything to keep my mind busy, but every room feels off. The furniture is slightly out of place, The walls seem closer than before, like the house itself is shifting, changing, watching me. I avoid the terrace. I don't want to see her again, but every time I pass by the door, I feel her presence, just on the other side, waiting for me, and the lavender scent is always there, creeping into every corner of the house, suffocating me. I sit on the couch as night falls, scrolling through Reddit, hoping to distract myself from the growing unease, but nothing helps, nothing takes the edge off, and then I hear it, a knock, soft, almost polite, but it's not coming from the front door, it's coming from the attic. I freeze, my heart pounding in my chest. I tell myself it's nothing, it's just the house settling, but then the knock comes again, a little louder this time, a little more insistent, and I grab my phone, ready to call someone, anyone, but when I look at the screen, it's blank, no apps, no icons, just a black void staring back at me, and the knocking gets louder, more frantic, like whatever's up there is desperate to get out. I stand at the bottom of the stairs, staring up at the attic door. My legs feel like they're made of lead, but something pulls me closer, some invisible force dragging me toward the door, and before I know it, I'm there. My hands shaking as I grip the doorknob, the knocking stops, silence, the kind of silence that presses in on you, makes your skin crawl, and I don't want to open the door, I don't want to see what's on the other side, but my hand moves on its own, twisting the knob, pushing the door open, and there she is, standing in the middle of the attic, her faceless head tilted toward me, and she whispers, "It's time." The lavender scent fills the air, thick and suffocating, and I realize, with a sinking feeling in my gut, that I was never supposed to wake up.